Hello, fans. Here are your desperate house sitters from
Guatemala!
Whoa, we're in
Inside.
Central America.
But the question is, are we desperate?
Maybe we keep this until the end.
Well, maybe you figure it out by the time we get to the
you
end.
figure it out by the time we're finishing what we have to tell you. So in the back you see one of our dogs we are looking after. This is Tiri, our alpha dog. Next to him is Zen. He is, like his name said, very chilled. And Lady is over there on the floor. She is our female dog. She's the mother of the two. And all three of them had been street dogs before. And now they have a home for the moment where they can stay in, because the owners want this situation to be changed. So they are desperately looking for new homes, and they're really beautiful dogs. But
And there is a but.
there's a big but. We are in Central America and everything is different here. And looking after other people's pets and houses is quite a challenge. I speak quite reasonable Spanish. Merlin is about learning it, so it's not about the language, it's actually about the culture.
Yeah.
So where do we start? We start with the dogs, because a lot of people around the lake here look for dog sitters, and most of the dogs are not even walked. They are just locked.
Into some area of
Yeah.
their garden.
Yeah, and you can imagine, as you can hear some dogs barking, this is not our dogs, it's all the neighbor dogs. And this is not the worst noise that we have here, no.
So where are we? So we are in Panachal, which is alongside Lake Atitlan, which is about, well, it's only about 100 kilometers from Guatemala City. However, it can take up to 4 hours to get here because of how the traffic is.
Yeah, and life here is certainly different because it's Central America, it's very colorful, it's very noisy and very polluted, unfortunately. Even so, we have a nice green environment here. We are in the middle of the city. It's totally and utterly polluted. Because, they don't think very much about pollution, don't they?
No, I mean, all of the heavy concerns that you get in Europe and to an extent in North America don't really apply. And we found this when we were in Asia as well, right? So, we had this situation with like plastic in Asia, didn't we? Like,
we have this here as well.
And it's a bit of an issue here too. So yeah, there are all of these differences in terms of the way that they approach everything, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything from the way that they live and obviously their attitude towards animals and the way that they treat and keep them.
Yeah. So here we have the situation that we have these wonderful street dogs. They are really gorgeous. They have wonderful temperament. They are loving and cuddly and everything we would look for when we look after dogs. But because you can't keep dogs always locked in, we of course walk them, right? So when we took them over, the owner told us, you can't walk them together. You have to separate the two dogs and the alpha dog, and you have to walk them separately. And we kind of, okay, why is that the way it is? And then she told us, well, we had a dog trainer, blah, 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 a lot of things didn't work out. We try with...
She suggested that they were using positive reinforcement, so when the alpha dog was doing something good, that he got a treat.
Yeah, didn't work with an alpha dog, not with a former street dog. Nope. So after a week, they got familiarized with us.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, we are going to start working with them. And the first couple of days, we were very desperate walking them on the streets.
So we started off going out of the house separately because the alpha dog really was making a lot of show. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. When we were leaving, and so we met in the street, and then we continued. However, his behaviour towards any other dog that we even set eyes on the street was to bark very loudly and start getting aggressive, and then set the other two off as well. And so then the other dogs were then wanting to come and attack
us.
And so, yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't as desperate as Thailand. And for those of you who followed us for a little while, you know we were extremely desperate in Thailand. But it's still a challenge.
Yeah. So we started training him to accept that he's not the leader, that Merlin took over the leadership, and walking them together every day, and started to work with them, encourage them to follow our voice, to follow our guidance, and got a lot of cuddles at home, but on the street they had to follow our guidance, and we had to work. We still walking zigzag around the other dogs, avoiding dogs, which is not really easy here because there's many street dogs, and they are all hungry and they are all fighting for the territory. So you can imagine it's not a pleasure walking dogs in Central or Latin America.
In fact, it's very stressful. I mean, we come back exhausted.
Yeah.
Like we've done an hour's walk and we're like totally drained. So
Yeah.
and it's because we have to be on high alert the whole time. So we're looking at the behavior of our dogs, then we're looking for other dogs. And then
all the cars and motorbikes and tuk-tuks and people, and it's...
And also, like, the Guatemalans tend to be generally frightened of dogs.
Yeah.
And so the dogs then will pick up on that fear and respond accordingly. So, but we ended up sending videos to our to the house owners, showing them the progress. And they are absolutely amazed.
Yeah, they couldn't believe that we managed that in this short period of time.
And so then she was questioning, oh, well, what about this and what about that? So then we showed videos of how we were doing it. So, and I think it's really important that when you take over another dog on a house sit, that it's been quite a big learning for me in having to do this so strongly in this situation where it's like, no, I'm the boss. You listen to what I say, and it's like balancing this very firm way of speaking. The tone of voice is so important, but then also encouraging with a different tone of voice when the behavior is good. And rather than giving treats, we find that works so much better, particularly with this alpha dog, is that he responds, and then what's happening now, he's looking to me to go, what do you want me to do now? And this is a real big shift.
Yes, yeah. So if you take over a house sit in Central or Latin America, ask first if they want you to walk the dogs. And if they want you to walk the dogs, ask about the environment, ask about the situation, about street dogs, attacks from street dogs, and all that, traffic and everything around it. Because if you're not somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, you will have to deal with that when you go out to your walks. And I tell you, even if you're younger, you have to have strong nerves and a very strong hand, and not being afraid of other dogs attacking you. And so be aware of that situation, right? Well, what else do we have to talk about house sitting in Guatemala? Well, it's our first house sit in Guatemala. We had been in several Central and Latin American countries, but we never house sit there. So. No. But first of all, most of the houses have kind of, employees that are there. Like here we have a gardener, and we have some wonderful cleaning woman coming once a week, which is really helpful for us because, it's a lot of dust here because of the pollution.
It gets very dirty very quickly.
And but you have to deal with these people. Here it's a little bit an awkward situation because the gardener almost lives next door. And he's coming every morning for a couple of hours doing his garden work. But well, if we would be the owners and if we would be in charge, we would probably make sure that he really works.
Yeah.
But as we are not the owners and we are not in charge, it's not much we can do about the situation because what you say, the mice is out of the house. No,
when the cat's away, the mice will play.
That's what they do here. Yeah. And as we are not really like normal house sitters, usually we don't pay for rental. We are in a very
interesting situation.
Let me say positive,
Interesting.
interesting situation.
Yeah, because we did mention at the beginning, this is not the normal house sit. This is, we are paying kind of like half the normal rent, and then we are half house sitting, kind of that balance. Except of course we're full house sitting because we have full responsibility for the dogs. And to make sure that they have the care and the exercise and the stimulation that they need.
And the food that they need, which they didn't have when we came.
Yeah, for us, we get really surprised at the amount of house owners who own dogs who just feed them dry food and there isn't anything else. And so Suzanne is very brave because, if any of you know us, we're vegetarian, and she gets some kind of meat stuff and cooks it with rice and
beans and other
stuff
vegetables.
like that.
So they have an alternative diet because the dry food is not very good for their digestion every single day. So on top of our rent, we pay for that, and they don't give the money back for us because they say it's up to you if you want to do it or not, which is not a good thing anyway, but this is how people are here.
But we do it for the dogs because we want them to be happy and healthy.
Right.
And in fact, Zen, he was quite skinny when we first got him. And he's put some weight on now, and he looks all of them look much better.
Yeah.
But Zen is
shiny
the one,
fur that I didn't have. Yeah.
Zen is the one who particularly has kind of put on weight and looks much more healthy now.
They didn't have dog beds. They didn't have proper places to sleep. We changed a lot here, and it was a challenge for the owners because we enforced them to arrange things for the dogs, which they didn't want. But in the end, we succeeded for the dog's sake.
We got there. I mean, and even though we are in an enclosed garden here with very high walls, I mean, these walls are 3 meters?
More. It's more. It's maybe 4 meters. Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, there is an awful lot of dogs in the local area, and so our dogs are responding to every bark, every howl, every cat, every squirrel
jumping around,
bird, etc. So there's a lot of barking that's going on, and they sleep in cages at night. The cage is covered, etc. But if they hear other dogs howling, they're howling at night.
Yeah. So no night sleep. But anyway, so a night sleep here, you can forget about it because it's anyway very noisy.
The house is in the center of Panajachel, and it seems to be the hub for every bar, celebration, religious celebration,
fireworks day and night.
And let's not even talk about bombast.
No, we don't talk about that one.
Bombast. If any of you know, like a lot of Catholic countries do it with this bombast. This is very, very loud explosions
every weekend, even during the week, even at 4:00 in the morning. It's just disgusting. So you have to have strong nerves.
Strong nerves, no fear, and
be a warrior.
Be a warrior and a pioneer to house it in Central America.
So coming to how did we find this house sit? On the main platforms that we use, there's not much advertising from people for Central or South America. So we were going into several Facebook groups. And a lot of people are here looking as well for house sitters, but usually they're asking for a compensation of
They want to cover their costs.
They want to cover their costs if they're not there.
They want to cover their electric and their bills. That's what they want to do. And obviously where we are, she's paying a gardener, she's paying
the cleaner.
She also pays somebody who is like the liaison here, who does check-ins, check-outs and all of that stuff. So of course she wants to cover those costs.
Yeah. So be prepared to pay for these costs in the moment. Just to give you a number, it's about $200 a month plus electricity and stuff. No, 200. No,
Four-
400. Sorry, 200 each. $400. So,
$400.
So this is what you have to calculate on top of your travel expenses, on top of your food and whatever you're going to do. So this you have to pay at least when you are somewhere house sitting, when they ask for compensation for that.
I mean, obviously, it is still cheaper than being in a hotel or an Airbnb if you want to visit. So it is still an option for coming to Central America to do that. Still is cheaper than if you came. But this is a really long house sit for us. So we arrived on the 22nd of September. This is 2025, and we don't leave until the end of November. So this is quite a long one. I think we probably would have been done after 5 weeks.
Yeah, not because of the dogs, more because of the environment, really.
Yeah, but anyway, we're sticking it out and so on. So you have to decide. Do you think we're desperate?
Maybe we are part-time desperate.
We're desperate some of the time.
Yeah, not because of the dogs, more because of the situation around in the country and the animal situation as well, because people don't care much about street dogs. Some people maybe put food out, but usually these are expats. And there is a lot of suffering here that you see every single day on the streets with the animals.
I think that the challenge here is that there was civil war in Guatemala for many, many years, and there is still this kind of divide of the rich and the poor that is more obvious than other countries, I think. So you see people with huge SUVs and very posh motorbikes or whatever driving down, and then you've got ladies in their 60s sitting on the pavement all day trying to sell a few items to get enough money for food. And that's the contrast. And so the people who are struggling to even feed themselves and their families, obviously they're in a situation where animals come lower down the list, right? So even if they do care, that they often can't afford to do anything about it anyway. And we'll give you an example, like a waitress here gets paid 25 quetzales, which is about $3 an hour.
That's you can basically maybe buy a basic meal like rice and beans for that. If you're lucky, on the street vendors, even in the markets, what we figured out, the vegetable and fruit comes from all over the area, but it's not fresh.
Yeah, they've never heard of a cold chain. No. For anyone who knows. So it's like even we think like things like butter and stuff like that isn't always refrigerated, and so by the time it's sat in the store or in a market store for a period of time, and then you get it, then it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, you basically have to go to the market every single day if you have the nerves to do that, and to get it somehow fresh somehow. So it's not a very comfortable situation, and as we are not 20 anymore, quite a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the lake itself, it's a very beautiful area, beautiful with the volcanoes in the background, and yes, I mean there's a vibrance in this culture, and if you like music and you like to go and drink and do those things and have party, then
you might like it very much.
Lots of opportunity to do that. It's just not exactly our cup of tea.
No, we prefer a cup of tea in a nice environment.
Yeah, we are really lucky. So we're not desperate in this area. So in the garden that we have here, we have 2 hot tubs. Mm-hmm. And these hot tubs are filled with thermal water that comes directly from the ground. And it comes into the hot tub at 50 degrees Celsius. And so we've had some nice times.
Absolutely.
Using that and taking advantage of that. So, there are pros and cons.
Yeah. So, if you want to know more about it or you want to learn from us, feel free to follow us, give us a thumb up, and ask us if we can guide you and help you whatever you need to know about house sitting. You can be a house owner or you can be a house sitter. We are happy to help with our experience.
Yeah, we found that we've actually been naturally doing that because as we travel, we meet more and more people who go, what do you do? And then we explain what we do with house sitting. Oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't know how. And so then we end up kind of coaching people doing that.
If you have any questions, reach out to us. And happy to see you for our next house sit, which will be in...
I was going to say, where are we going next?
We go to South Africa.
Yes, South Africa, we're going to Johannesburg. So we are really excited about that house sit, and we'll be reporting from there.
Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.